Too many leaders lead for validation, not impact, for what they can get out of it more than what they can give to it. Hi, my name is Chris, and I'm obsessed with how leaders grow and develop, and I too have insecure moments. We all do. Glad you're here with me now on the Sight Shift podcast so you can learn how to lead for impact, not validation. Welcome to Lead for Impact Session 6. Too many leaders are leading for validation, not impact. So they're not having impact. And if they can start to shift awareness to what they over and undervalue, they can start to have impact. How? Because that's going to lead to the first component of impact, which is action, taking the right action. Now, to understand this, we've got to understand how dangerous it is that we've lifted up empathy as one of the key values to aim for in leadership. Empathy is really for the psychotic. Here's what I mean. You got to feel something, and we want to feel something. As leaders, if we're divorced from our feelings, if we're denying our feelings, we're going to miss the clues and signals that we need. We're going to miss the purpose and the meaning and the joy from our impact. If we're dominated by our emotional state, our judgment is clouded, we're not wise, we're eroding as we go as leaders, we're rotting from within. We don't want either of those. So we want to feel something, but we want to be aware and learning from our emotions. How are we going to do that? Well, to do that, first off, I want to share with you just moments I've had in my own personal life. Some of these moments are real struggles where I'm literally in a place where I am hustling for the day's groceries. Like, it's hard to understand this unless you've been through a season like this, but I have been through places where it's hard, it's real, and I got to make it through the day. And if I've been in one of those places where I'm just struggling and hustling for the day's groceries, and a friend of mine says to me, "Hey man, Chris, dude, that sucks. I have sympathy for you." Like, I have sympathy for you. That sucks. That must be so hard. Honestly, if they do that and I'm really struggling, I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. You know what else doesn't feel good? Empathy. If they say, "Chris, man, I have been there before. I know what it's like to hit the bottom, to have to try to scramble to survive. I've been there and I feel bad with you. Good luck getting out of that hole." That didn't feel very good either. I don't want sympathy. I don't want empathy. I want mercy. I want someone to help end my suffering. Now, you've thought of mercy as the withholding of punishment. No, it's not that at all. Mercy is I'm stepping in to end suffering. What's meant the world to me in those moments when it's been the hardest is not someone's sympathy, not someone's empathy, but someone's mercy. "Chris, here's $100. Go get some food." When you've been at the bottom, when you've struggled, when you've crawled, when you've climbed, when you've scraped on your elbows, you know that it has been through the help of others that so much shifts and changes for you. That's the nature of what we do as leaders. We end suffering. We bring solutions to problems. We're always going to have problems, and when we solve problems, it's going to create more problems, but that's what we do. We end suffering. If you have a business, what makes your business powerful or impactful is you're ending suffering. It's not that you feel with the client, it's that you solve the client's problem. I can have sympathy for a lot of people. I can have empathy for some, but I can have mercy for a few. And what this does is this focuses my action. I don't have to be in a place that my impact is distorted or diluted, because the places that I feel empathy are a clue and a signal to the places that I will show up with mercy and actually be the kind of leader who ends suffering. So what we've done is, by making empathy the endpoint, and that's the in vogue word in books, in articles, in leadership talks, we got to get to a point of being an empathy leader, is we've taken a great starting point and made it a terrible ending point. And we've empowered the most psychotic among us, the religious leaders, the politicians, the people at work that know how to feign emotion, that know how to match and mirror things. Empathy is not the end point, it's the starting point. Empathy has a purpose. I feel suffering that I want to do something about. I mean, some of the most compelling business cases for places that we've seen people have great impact in leadership and in business is because they felt the suffering and they ended it. A little while back, man, just our family had gone through a number of events coming at us from like every angle. And just the toll and toil that we felt in our marriage, our personal relationship, And a friend of mine I was sharing a little bit about that with, he didn't go, Chris, man, I feel sympathy. He didn't say, I feel empathy. I've been there. He acted on it in mercy. He sent a gift certificate for couples massage. Just a beautiful, beautiful way for him to show up. Now, a quick note about personal relationships. Some of you just need to hear this spelled out for you very clear, because I needed it that way. Your spouse, the significant other, romantic partner, whatever, person you love, they don't always want you to end their suffering. Okay? Just wisdom here. Most of the time, they just want empathy. That's great. We're not talking about those moments. But for most leaders, they're not actually leading for impact. They're leading for validation, because they hear the suffering, but they don't do anything about it. They're actually trying to solve too many problems. They're trying to do too much, so they can't actually take the action they want to, or there's just a lack of commitment. There's a fear. There's not enough courage there to take the right action. It doesn't matter to me whatever your business is. I mean, it could be a porta potty business. You are ending the suffering of others. It could be cleaning the porta potty. You're ending the suffering of others. Your business might be connected to, in a very real way, something you're doing that you feel a lot of sense of meaning and purpose. And if you don't, that's okay for what your business does, but you need to know that you do that for the people that work in your business. Look, you can't take all the actions in the world, and you can't end all the suffering. It's going to exhaust you to even try. I look for the places that grab me empathetically, and mercy then is where I lead through a transformation. To be a leader of impact, not validation, means I look around, and as I lead with action, I'm actually being that person, that leader, who doesn't just stop at the emotional feeling, but instead I let it carry me through to the action that I take. And what I've found over and over and over and over and over in leadership and in life, the ones who have the most impact are the ones who take the action that they can take in the place that they find themselves. The world right now has an overwhelming amount of problems. It always has, really, but you just didn't know about what was happening in all the tribes all over the globe. You're now connected to a device at any given moment that helps you feel all the suffering of the world. It's more than you can take. It's more than you can take action on. It's more than any human could. I'm not so worried about being a perfect global citizen. Yeah, I want to be wise. I want to be aware. Instead, I know how transformation really works. It's not macro top-down at the institutional level. It's lots of communities that are transformed, micro communities from the ground up that make the world a better place. And so I don't have to feel overwhelmed with all the problems of the world. I don't have to solve everything. I don't have to end the suffering of everyone. Instead, I can look where I am right now and say, what is the action that I need to take? Out of what I value and the impact I seek to make, impact equals action. What's the right action for me, where I am right now? And to get a deeper understanding on this, what you want to do now is start to pay attention to what actions you take from the values we looked at in the last session. You're going to start to understand and explore more about what it means to be a leader of impact. We're going to dive into motive next. Make sure you don't miss that one. There's always more at sightshift.com, SIGHT shift.com. Thanks for joining me on this episode. There's always more for you at SightShift, SIGHT shift.com, to be the leader you were meant to be.